Never doubt the Golden State Warriors. As you all know, the Golden State Warriors now fall to a 3-1 deficit against the Los Angeles Lakers in this series. However, a lot of people are counting out Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors that this series is pretty much over. In today's video, we're going to be going through 5 reasons why you shouldn't count out the Golden State Warriors and how the Golden State Warriors are going to come back from this 3-1 deficit and beat the Los Angeles Lakers in this series. So make sure to like this video, and guys, 92% of you are still not subscribed to the channel, so it would mean the world. You can subscribe to the channel, hit that red button down below. The first is to never underestimate what Stephen Curry can do. As you all know, Steph Curry has had his fair share of 3-1s. As you all know, they did lose a 3-1 lead to the Cleveland Cavaliers, which LeBron James ironically was in that team. They've also won from a 3-1 deficit. So OKC in that same playoff run was actually up 3-1 against the Golden State Warriors, and Stephen Curry and the rest of his team were able to pull it back. So there is a lot of 3-1 leads in his history, but on top of all that, we all know that Steph Curry is the greatest shooter alive, and if anyone can come back from a 3-1 lead against LeBron, it is literally Steph Curry himself. He has played some fantastic games, not only in just this playoff run, but also throughout his whole NBA career. We all know his recent Game 7 against the Sacramento Kings, where he dropped 50 points, 8 rebounds, and also had 6 assists, while also shooting 52% from the field and 40% from the 3. So he is able to put on a show, and I do think that when it comes to Steph Curry, if anyone is capable of doing it, it is that baby-faced assassin. Steph Curry has continued to show day in and day out, and he has been struggling a little bit when it comes to percentage and shooting efficiency against the LA Lakers, but now that the pressure is on the line, I don't think Stephen Curry is going to let this slip in front of his hands. He has a great squad around him, and if Steph Curry is playing hot, then it is honestly a recipe for success, and they should be able to come back against the Los Angeles Lakers. The second is to not count out Jordan Poole just yet. As you all know, Jordan Poole hasn't had the best start to this playoff run, but also in this LA Lakers season. In Game 1, he only had 21 points. In Game 2, he had 6. In Game 3, he had 5. In the most recent game, he also had only 0 points. So it has been a bit of a struggle when it comes to Jordan Poole finally getting a rhythm and playing his role. However, I do think Jordan Poole, being a great player that he is, he should be able to turn this around. Like I mentioned with Steph Curry, now that the pressure is on, Jordan Poole is definitely set to perform, and he has that pressure on his back, and sometimes that's what you need. You need that wake-up call to know that it is honestly one game away from being knocked out, and Jordan Poole should come out firing. Now, Jordan Poole so far this season was averaging 20 points per game, was also grabbing 2.6 rebounds and 3.4 assists. So he's done a fantastic job, and now that he is getting a lot more minutes, he's definitely required to do a lot more out there. And I think that really is important for someone like Jordan Poole to actually understand. I do think he needs to understand that his bigger role in this league and also in this team is to actually score the ball at will. They need another scorer just in case someone like Steph isn't hot or someone like Clay isn't hot. Jordan Poole needs to step up and be able to provide scoring, since he isn't a lockdown defender like Wiggins, Gary Payton II, or even Dante DiVincenzo. So I do think Jordan Poole is in a bit of a pressure situation, and if he honestly can give us 15, 20, maybe even 25 points in this next matchup, I am telling you right now, the Golden State Warriors win this game. One of the reasons why is that when we look at the field, we do see that they do focus on Steph, they do focus on Clay, and that leaves someone like Jordan Poole very open to score, and also probably puts a weak defender on him as well. So this is where Jordan Poole needs to take advantage and needs to start moving towards getting it done, especially in the points category. The third is that the Golden State Warriors have a secret weapon in Jonathan Kaminga. Now, we haven't seen much from Jonathan Kaminga all this series, and also haven't seen anything from him also in the last series as well. And I think it's honestly been time that Steve Kerr realizes, and he has mentioned this in an interview, that Jonathan Kaminga deserves the minutes and deserves to get some playing time. I do think Kaminga can really provide a lot for this team, even though he doesn't have playoff experience. We have seen a lot from Moses Moody, and Moses Moody, I think, has done a fantastic job out there, but I think if Kaminga is out there as well, they definitely can get it done. As you all know, LA Lakers is a very old team and they are a lot of slow players in that lineup, and because of that, you could honestly really outrun them if you had a lot of athletic beasts out there. You know, Jonathan Kaminga, he's 6'8", he jumps very high, very quick on his feet, pretty much moves like a guard, and we do call him Andrew Wiggins 2.0 for a reason. And I think if you had two Andrew Wiggins out there, someone like Kaminga who could, you know, somewhat knock down the three ball, which he has done on a consistent basis. Over the last two games against the LA Lakers, he actually went 1 from 1, so he can shoot the three ball if needed, and he plays such great defense while also being very tall and can grab a lot of boards for the Golden State Warriors. And I think that's something that this Warriors team definitely need. They do lack a bit of height, especially when Draymond Green is on someone like Anthony Davis. We all know how big Anthony Davis can be, 7 foot, really, you know, 7 foot wingspan as well, probably even longer than that. And it is honestly insane to have a 6'6" guy like Draymond Green guarding him. Now, Draymond has done a fantastic job, but it does hit a point where height does really matter, and height is might at the end of the day. So that is something that he definitely needs to look at when it comes to Steve Kerr getting Jonathan Kaminga in this rotation, because at this point you really have nothing to lose. The fourth is that the Golden State Warriors need to continue to shoot a high 3-point percentage. Now, we have seen them struggle from the three throughout this whole series, and LA Lakers, don't get me wrong, have done a fantastic job to restrict that. But I do think it is time for the Golden State Warriors to turn this around and start getting their three ball going, or even look on the inside and start attacking the inside. Obviously, you have players like Steph and Clay who really do focus on the outside scoring. However, if you have Wiggins out there, if you have someone like Draymond driving to the paint, if you also have other players like Kaminga out there, Gary Payton II, the list really does go on and on, that can attack the ring at will and really get the job done inside, I do think that is something that can definitely get a win over the LA Lakers. As you all know, with all the focus on Steph and Clay, it really does open up a lot of other players, you know, such as Wiggins, such as others, and I do think because of that, the Warriors definitely need to look at starting to drive more inside. We have seen that in Stephen Curry's game, and we did see that against Sacramento. Sacramento really did focus on actually trying to push out players like Steph and Clay, and the result of that, Steph was able to drive inside, get it done, and also drop 50 in Game 7. And I do think we may need to see more inside scoring from Steph, but on top of that, I do think we need to see more inside scoring from everyone else. But when it comes to three-point shooting, I do think they have enough people in this lineup, whether it's Steph, whether it's Clay, Jordan Poole, Wiggins can also shoot the three ball. The list really does go on and on. I do think they need to start hitting their shots more consistently if they want to win. Now, when it comes to these losses, they aren't losing by a lot. They're only losing by a very small margin, except for that one blowout game. And because of that, I do think the Warriors, with a couple of 3 points here and there, could definitely get the win and should have got the win, especially in the last game that just played. The fifth is that the role players need to start playing a much bigger role. And I think this is something that is so important. Obviously, when it comes to not only just Golden State Warriors, but a lot of teams out there, we have superstars playing, you know, 30, 35 plus minutes per game. And it's honestly hitting a point where they are playing a majority of the game. Now, when the role players are on, that is definitely where you need to shift your focus, and the role players definitely need to give it their all, because that is where we see a lot of difference making, especially when it comes to the points category. We saw in the Golden State Warriors blowout earlier this series, we actually saw that when they were getting blown out was definitely when the role players started to get on, and there were only a couple of stars out there on the floor. Now, if the role players in Golden State Warriors can dominate and honestly push further, especially against the role players on the other squad of the LA Lakers, I definitely think it is a recipe for success. And if we look on paper, Golden State Warriors, I do believe, have a better role playing when it comes to second unit, better than the LA Lakers. And I think that's super important to actually see, and I think they can get it done in this next game.